Hope, Ollie, and Smalls had been just getting more and more adventurous each and every day. They couldn't stay in a cage for long. They didn't even want to be in the cage. They got bored in the cage. Besides that, Mama Bird and Dada Bird really wanted them to just leave because they were all done raising them, and the little birdies knew it. They didn't care. They were just too busy thinking about how many things they could go do that would be fun. Well, Ollie had gotten the big idea that he really wanted to do some more skateboarding. And Smalls had seen a couple boxes one day over in the little boy's room that he hadn't gotten to dig through yet, and he wanted to see if he could find something else cool. And of course, Hope, well, just wanted to watch TV. So they decided that the next day, when they got a chance to get out, that they were going to get out, and they were all three going to do just what they wanted to do. Completely. So Ollie knew where the little tech deck was when they were done with it because it had gone under the couch. So he knew how to get his thing. Smalls already knew where he was going, and Hope knew he was going to watch TV. Well, he was going to watch Netflix, and he was going to try to find something new and something different. Well, after the man had left and everything had quieted down, out of the cage they went. Smalls, he was gone already. He was already back in the little boy's room digging around in everything. Ollie had already gone as fast as he could. He was underneath the couch, and he had the Tech Deck skateboard. And Hope was sitting up on the couch, or the ottoman next to the couch, hitting the remote control buttons with his beak, trying to turn on Netflix. Well, he got Netflix to come on, and he scrolled through every station. He finally saw something with big birds on it, and it was called Eagles something. And he thought, I'm going to watch that. So, of course, he did. He turned it on and started to play. And it was a show that was kind of like a science show or documentary talking about eagles and how eagles behave in the wild and what they do. Well, he was extremely fascinated by these eagles. In fact, he was really getting into the eagles. Well, Ollie was over in the kitchen going back and forth, jumping over the cracks, doing the flying ollie. And he wanted everybody to watch him, but nobody would watch him. So he finally decided he didn't care, and he turned what he called a bunny hop into an ollie hop. So he was naming all the tricks after himself, because he knew that one trick was called an ollie. Well, he knew that he had created the flying ollie. Now he created the ollie hop. And the ollie hop was where he pushed down on the back of the board, and up it would come, and it looked just like an ollie, but he called it an ollie hop. So he had all his favorite tricks, and he was getting pretty good. He was also getting pretty fast. Hope really wanted Ollie to be a little bit more quiet, so Hope went and found headphones and drug him across the floor, pulled on the wire, and took him forever to get this done. But he got the headphones up onto the couch, and he figured out how to make them work, and he was listening, sitting in between the headphones, looking at the show, and all he could hear was the movie. And he was as content as could be. Smalls had found a little wooden box, and somehow he was able to open it up. And when he did, he thought he had found the treasures of a lifetime. There were little Minecraft swords in there, little keychains with like angry birds on them, which he thought was cool because he decided he was now an angry bird. And he had played that game before on the old iPad that was laying around here one time. So now he found a keychain. Well, there were all other types of things in there. There was a laser pointer that he figured out if he'd squeeze it'd make a red light. And it had kitty paws on it. And he thought, man, when I go over and I see that kitty cat, I am taking this with me. So he took out the sword, the laser pointer, and the keychain with the Angry Birds on it. And he took and hid those because he was going to use those. So he hid them up really high up on this piece of wood where nobody would pay him any attention. So he was saving that for the next time because he was going to go Minecraft swording on the kitty cat and teasing the kitty cat with the thing. And he was going to wear the keychain around his neck because he liked some bling. So he was feeling gangster, like Angry Bird gangster. So he knew he was going to be cool and have fun. Ollie, still skating, going back and forth. In fact, all you can hear him doing is ollieing. And the skateboard goes up and down, click, 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 all the time. Smalls didn't care. Smalls is just sitting there, doing nothing but watching eagles. Well, Smalls had decided he was an Angry Bird. Ollie had decided he was a world-class skateboarder. And Ollie, or not Ollie, but Hope had all of a sudden gotten in his head that he was an eagle. And he had been watching the eagles and what they do and how they fly and how they attack other things and how they catch small animals for their dinner. And Hope was an eagle. In his mind, he was a bald eagle. And he was going to take over this place as soon as the show was done. So Ollie, he had been crashing so many times you couldn't believe it. But he just decided, hey, I'm learning how to do this. I got this. So he'd do an ollie hop, and he'd get to the crack, he'd do a flying ollie. He'd kick it. Well, he had figured out how to jump up off of it, grab it with his beak, and flip over in the air and land on it again. You know what he called it? Ollie flop. That was his ollie flop. So he looked around and he'd go, I can do an ollie flop too. I can do an ollie fly. I can do an ollie hop. And now I can do an ollie flop. So he just kept making up tricks. Well, this was so much fun for them because they had really just been too busy chasing cats and going outside. Because once they figured out how to go outside, they were going outside a lot. And they had teased all kinds of animals outside. So for a little while, they had to stay inside because everybody was kind of on the lookout for the little yellow and green birds that were outside being noisy and making fun of things. Well, all of a sudden, the video was over. Hope stands up on the edge of the couch, and he goes, everybody, get in here now. And everybody come in and said, what do you want, Hope? I'm an eagle, and I'm in charge, and we're going outside. Ollie says, no, I'm skateboarding here. Ollie, you're going outside. It's just how it's going to be. And Smalls got to thinking, I'm going to take my sword outside. I'm going to wear my gangster necklace too. Because Smalls now, he thinks he's a gangster because he's got bling around his neck. Well, he looks really silly because he's got a red Angry Bird around his neck and he's holding a Minecraft sword keychain in the other hand. And he's acting like he's going to go battle, but he's talking gangster while he's doing it. Now, I can't talk gangster, so you just have to imagine in your own mind what he was doing when he was being gangster. Well, they all said, okay, it sounded good, because Ollie figured out he could get his skateboard outside, and he had seen all kinds of places where he knew he could ride it around. So he grabbed on the skateboard. Hope was the leader, and they all jumped up on top of the refrigerator, went to the crack, flew over in the other room. The kitty cat was sleeping. They looked around, and they thought, oh no, how are we going to get out of here? Because if you remember the last time, they got stuck outside a whole day. Well, they didn't think about this door again. Every time the door was that way, they never think about it. So they got real busy and they started looking around everywhere. Well, they could hear somebody upstairs, and they figured out if they go up the top of the stairs, they could squeeze underneath the crack in the door and go upstairs. And they went up there and waited for somebody to open a door up top. And sure enough, they were taking the dogs outside, and out the door they went. They were out in the wild. Well, Ollie knew exactly where he was going skateboarding, because on the steps outside the front of the house, there are 2 rails that go all the way down to the driveway. And he put the board up on top, and he got on it, and he skateboarded all the way down to the end. Turned around, pushed it all the way back up, and he must have been doing this for half the day. Well, Hope had flown all the way up into a tree, way up high, and had claimed the whole territory his. All the other birds were not allowed to fly in the area, because when they did, he would swoop down on them just like an eagle. Well, the other birds didn't know what he was doing, so they thought, he's crazy, we better get away from him. Well, Hope didn't know that they thought he was crazy. He just thought they were scared of him because he was an eagle. So he sat up high in a tree, all the way up high, higher than he or any of the little birds had ever been before. And he had his chest puffed out and kept turning his head sideways and looking just like an eagle. He was pretending that he was looking for a chipmunk, a rabbit, or a mouse, anything that a eagle catches to eat. Because he was going to go swoop down and he was going to catch one. Smalls was off and carrying on. And he had found a whole pack of sparrows in a bush. And he'd gone up to them and he was talking gangster. Well, they had never seen anything like it in their life. He was green with a yellow head. He had a sword in one hand and he was wearing a necklace. And he was talking some talk they never heard. Well, they decided that they liked him. And they decided they were going to make a gang. Now, Smalls had his own gang of birds. And all that they would do is fly around from place to place and sit and just talk stuff. That's all they did. They didn't do nothing. But Smalls thought it was so cool because he had him so many friends. And they were all starting to act gangster with their heads and everything. And they wanted Smalls to bring them all some Angry Bird necklaces. So they named their gang the Angry Birds. While Ollie was still skateboarding, now he had figured out he could go down the stairs one time after another if he would just grab it with his beak. And he would hit the ground. And then on the sidewalk, he would make the turn. He would Ollie fly over the cracks. And he'd go all the way down to the bottom, grab it with his beak, do an Ollie hop. When he land, he would jump back up and do an Ollie flop in the air. Well, he was sweating. He was doing this so much. So all 3 of the birds played like this all day long. Smalls and his gang went around and got more sparrows to join in. And he was the leader because he was all colorful and had a sword. And he would always be talking stuff like, we're going to go do this and we're going to go do that. And once we go do this, we're going to go do that. And when that orange kitty comes out, we're all going to get that orange kitty. And Smalls meant it. He wanted all the sparrows to get after the orange kitty because they knew that that kitty would be so funny when it's running from them. Well, Hope sat in a tree and finally got his big chance. He saw a rabbit. Well, he had seen the eagles on TV swoop down and catch a rabbit. So he gets all self ready. Yeah, I'm going to get that rabbit right now. He gets all puffed up, jumps out of the tree, puts his wings all the way out, and is going down almost like a jet, straight at the rabbit, wings all the way out. The rabbit can't see him. Hope gets near the rabbit, puts his wings out, slows himself down, sticks his talons out. He's going to grab the rabbit and pick the rabbit up and fly him back up in the tree. Hope grabs the rabbit by the fur and just stops right there. The rabbit turned around and looked at him and goes, "What in the world are you doing?" "Shut up, rabbit. I'm an eagle. I'm going to take you up in that tree and I'm going to eat you." "You're not. You can't pick me up. Look at you. You're just a little bird." "No, I am a big, bald eagle and you're coming with me." Hope starts flapping his wings and all of a sudden, boink, his claw's not loose and all he has is some fur, and the rabbit took off running and he flew back up in his tree and he goes, "Almost had that rabbit. I'm going to get the next rabbit I see." He still thinks he's an eagle. Well, Small's gang by now is about 50 sparrows, and they are so loud. Well, Ollie's been watching them because he wants them to come and watch. So he calls Smalls over and he says, "Smalls, can you guys watch me go down this rail?" "Yeah, that's a cool thing to do. Let me get everybody." So he whistles at everybody and all the sparrows come up and they lined up all the way down on one side of the rail, on one rail, and Ollie gets on the other side. And Ollie goes, "Is everybody ready for this?" And they're all like, yeah, this is cool. Let's do this." And Ollie takes off down. He does an Ollie flop. He does an Ollie hop. Lands it. Falls off. Tech deck skateboard falls on the ground. And Ollie goes a tumbling. Well, they're all like flapping their wings and going, hee, laughing at him. And he's like, "Oh, I'm so mad. They're not going to do this to me." He jumps back up, gets back on the rail, and takes off. He does a flying Ollie. He does an Ollie hop. He does 3 Ollie flops. And when he gets to the end, he does the brand new trick, the Ollie flip. It's a front flip on a skateboard. He reaches down, grabs the front of the nose of it, jumps up in the air, flaps his wing one time, puts his head down, and it does a front flip on a skateboard. And they all sat there and looked at him like, "Oh, man, he is an amazing skateboarding bird." And Small says, "Yeah, that's my brother. That's my fun. We have fun." So they all got done. All the sparrows went home. Hope never caught a rabbit, but swore he was going to. And Ollie had done the finale of the day doing tricks. So they all got back inside, went inside the nest, waited and waited, and finally the man came home, gave them some new food, and all they did for the rest of the day was just talk about all the cool things that they had done on their adventure that day. The end.